With all these drone sightings seen over the world, one of the most intriguing sightings are glowing balls of light, plasma, UAP. UFO researchers should be far more interested in that than the missighting of an airplane or a quadcopter, even if they come from a rogue nation. What exactly are the luminous UAPs that definitely have been seen all over the world? These glowing balls of light have been seen for decades, probably centuries. Here's some amazing footage that Angry Astronaut shared on his channel, link in the description, to some recently unclassified government footage of glowing orbs in the sky. Ignore some of the video artifacts. It's the small things that move that you should be interested in. Very cool stuff, and here's some shots of contemporary stuff that looks the same. What's going on? Well, undoubtedly, the glowing balls in the sky, the UAP, the unknown anomalous phenomenon, is of great interest to our governments and our military. They exhibit amazing properties, appearing and disappearing, zapping around the sky with no visible means of propulsion. Exactly the kind of weapon system that you would want if you were military and if you could build one. So dating back to the 1930s and of course to Nikola Tesla, various countries and governments tried to build their own UAP, the plasma balls in the sky, and turn them into a directed energy weapon. What people are genuinely seeing in the sky right now might well be an exotic weapon. One of the first countries to look into what these plasma balls might be and could we build a directed energy weapon was the United Kingdom. A research program in Britain was started to try and build Nikola Tesla's death ray that they'd probably stolen the plans for. And the Scottish meteorologist from Dundee, Robert Watson-Watt, was given a small grant and a hut on Orford Ness, Suffolk, to build Britain a death ray. And poor Robert Watson-Watt admitted that he completely failed. He didn't have the power supply to produce the plasma effect, but the idea was out there. So the UAP, plasma ball death ray idea, was put on the back burner. And then World War II happened. But during World War II, the Allies spotted something really terrifying. Over Europe and over Japan, airmen saw strange Foo Fighters. Now, Foo Fighters are often dismissed as aliens from the planet Zog, or maybe they're just some kind of electrostatic discharge. Oh no, they're not. Winston Churchill and the Allies took Foo Fighters really seriously because they might be a German plasma-directed energy weapon, the very one that they were trying to build, that Germany, smarty pants, had perfected. And potentially it would be an ultimate terror weapon and change the course of history. So the Allied commanders in World War II gave the task of understanding what Foo Fighters might be and are they a directed energy weapon to Henry Tizard. What he found is fascinating. For 78 years since the end of World War II, the origin of the strange phenomenon called Foo Fighters remains a mystery. Seen by Allied aircraft over Europe and in the Pacific Theatre, glowing balls of energy, apparently under intelligent control, tracking your aircraft's height and speed, then flying off, or simply disappearing. Were they a novel German terror weapon, or was a pivotal time in human history being monitored by a higher intelligence? World War II was fought and won using advanced technology. Radar is credited with winning the war for the Allies, and the terrible power of the atomic bomb certainly ended the conflict. What exactly were Foo Fighters? Who was controlling them? And why did the phenomenon disappear after World War II? This film examines the facts, revealing new evidence that Foo Fighters were under intelligent control and part of a brave new world, a new world order where humans, for the first time, fought wars by weaponizing physics.
The weaponization of light, plasma, and Foo Fighters. Toward the end of World War II, mission updates from the 415th Night Fighter Squadron took a mysterious turn. Along with details of dogfights over the German-occupied Rhine Valley, pilots began reporting inexplicable lights following their aircraft. One night in November 1944, a Bristol Beaufighter crew, pilot Edward Schluter, radar observer Donald J. Myers, and intelligence officer Fred Ringwald, was along the Rhine north of Strasbourg. They described seeing 8 to 10 bright orange lights off their left wing, flying through the air at high speed. Neither the airborne radar nor ground control registered anything nearby. Schluter turned toward the lights and they disappeared, the report continued. Later, they appeared much farther away. The display continued for several minutes, then disappeared. Myers gave these objects a name, taking a response word used by characters in a popular Smokey Stover firefighter cartoon, Foo Fighters. Reports kept coming in. The objects flew alongside aircraft at 200 miles an hour. They were red or orange or green. They appeared singly or with as many as 10 others in formation, and they often outmaneuvered the airplanes they were chasing. Foo Fighters got the attention of Allied Command, who wondered if they were really a new Nazi terror weapon. Winston Churchill made these strange glowing balls his top priority. Why? Because the UK and USA suspected Germany had perfected a plasma direct energy weapon that they themselves had been working on and failed to perfect. We can tell you today, Foo Fighters were a man-made weapon, but strangely, an unintentional byproduct of a secret radar technology the Germans were using. And weirdly, the German military probably did not realize their continuous wave-focused radar was producing. Today, let's examine facts about what Foo Fighters really are. The following was written by Chris Allen Broca. Foo Fighters and microwave oven plasma balls. The mysterious appearance of Foo Fighters over the skies of World War II, and their equally mysterious disappearance after the cessation of hostilities, constitutes one of the stranger episodes in the history of atmospheric physics. Bright lights were reported to follow aircraft. They were observed in all theaters of war. Common opinion on most sides held that they were enemy secret weapons, or UFOs. Little evidence indicating this surfaced following the end of the war, and they were variously explained as corona discharges, or ball lightning, or other electromagnetic or optical phenomena. The idea that these lights were produced by radar beams interacting with ionized gas, particularly engine exhaust, offers a fascinating insight into these strange objects. How could a novel German radar produce an ionized ball of plasma? Some German radars focused EM energy using parabolic reflectors. Others utilized Yagi-Uda or other dipole antenna arrays. Not knowing the specifics, we will estimate that 250 kilowatts went out over an area of roughly 1 square mile. These early radars poured their energy out in a continuous stream. If a radar beam were to end up focused on an area where an airplane was discharging hot, probably rather ionized exhaust, a plasma ball might form which would grow in luminescence. A concern may arise. The radar supplies energy to the ball in pulses, whereas we are approximating it as a continuous stream of power. Simulations have been performed with a source turning off and on rapidly. Once fully developed, the plasma ball would glow with the apparent brightness of a roughly 660-watt incandescent light bulb. We have shown that the interaction of microwave energy with hot ionized air can very well produce the kinds of phenomena encountered by World War II flyers. At the end, World War II British troops were instructed to get all the equipment and research into German radar and early Nazi experiments with fiendishly horrible X-ray directed energy weapons. These were designed to kill humans at a great distance by exposing pilots to high doses of X-ray radiation. All this research returned to the UK, where it was assessed and redeveloped as British weapons. A lot of that work being carried out by the National Radar Lab at Bowdsey, Suffolk. Interestingly, only a few miles from Rendlesham Forest. By the Cold War, the UK and US were using German-style continuous wave radar capable of producing plasma effects similar to Foo Fighters. Type 87 Scorpion continuous wave radars were stationed in and around the area of Bentwaters and Woodbridge in 1980. According to engineer Winston Keach, this radar would be powerful enough to cause plasma effects if focused at a relatively short range. It would also be ideal for feeding and steering targeting plasmas for phase conjugate directed energy weapons, such as the Star Wars weapons program, as well as a remote power charging system for an unmanned UAV aircraft. If local Earth energy became entrained through the electrical earthing of the system, because of the continuous energy flow of the transmitter, then if a plasma were generated in a local atmosphere, not only would the tracking motions of the radar sweep the glowing plasma around the sky in that area, they would have 3 nominal tracking mode search patterns, theoretically right down to ground level. But it would also phase conjugate the Earth energy to that focus point of the plasma in a process known as a 4-way mixer. This would deliver concentrated Earth energy to that remote point, just like a directed energy weapon delivering a laser or maser blast. Not only would this energize the plasma and any object that the plasma contacts, but if that object or sufficiently charged plasma moved close enough to the ground, there would be something very much like a lightning strike to the ground. The dripping molten metal effect described by Colonel Charles Halt is also a plasma optical effect caused by electron bunching in conductive plasma channels, a little bit like the streamer conduction channels that open up the air to trigger a lightning flash. Could such an effect also leave behind marks in the ground that were reported after night 1 of the famous Rendlesham Forest incident? Another novel physics device was exploited by the military and weaponized the high-power laser and maser. During the late 1960s through the 1970s and 80s, at these heights of the Cold War, our military-industrial complex sought new ways to exploit lasers.
So, viewers, do you now think that Foo Fighters might have been a byproduct of German radar technology? And now in 2025, where many nations understand how these plasma-directed energy weapons do work, is that what we're seeing in the sky? Are we under attack? The truth is out there.